So import sets is actually the topic that we are discussing in today's session, guys. Okay. So what are import sets actually? Okay. So first of all, we have to understand one thing here. So in ServiceNow tables, we can create the records from different sources. In ServiceNow tables, we can create records from different sources. We all know that. Okay. So form is actually one of the source. Script is actually one of the source. Email is actually one of the source. Record producers is actually one of the source. External systems is actually one of the source. Virtual agent is actually one of the source. Chart is actually one of the source. From Excel sheet also you can create the records, guys. Okay. So guys, remember whenever we upload the Excel sheet in ServiceNow, okay, whenever we load data in ServiceNow, okay, import set will be created. Okay, import set will be created. So whenever we load the data in ServiceNow, import set will be created, guys. Okay. So guys, using Excel sheet also we can create the records. Okay. So whenever we upload the Excel sheet in ServiceNow, first import set will be created. Okay. So once the import set is created, first of all, let me do one thing. Okay. So now what I am doing is I am going to the problem table, guys. I am going to the problem table. Okay. So in the problem table, there are 38 records. Let me do one thing. Let me just increase the page size. Okay. Page size, I'm actually increasing it to 50. So what I'm doing is I am downloading all these. I am downloading all these problems here. Okay. In the Excel sheet. Export Excel sheet. Okay, I have downloaded all the problems in the Excel sheet. What I'm doing is I'm deleting all these problems in the problem table. I am deleting all the problems in the problem table. So in the problem table, there are no records, guys. In the problem table, there are no records. I'm deleting all the records in the problem table. So in the problem table, there are no records. Okay. So let us imagine client has given this Excel sheet with you. Let us imagine client has given this Excel sheet with you. Okay. So he has given this Excel sheet. He asked you to import this data into ServiceNow. Okay. Client has given this Excel sheet with you and he has asked you to import this data into ServiceNow. Okay. Fine. So let me just go back to whiteboard here. So guys, imagine client has given this Excel sheet with you and he has asked you to import this problem records in the problem table in the ServiceNow database. You understand the requirement, guys? Okay. So this is the Excel sheet that client has given to you. Okay, this is the Excel sheet that client has given to you, and he has asked you to import this data into ServiceNow problem table. Okay, requirement part clear or not, everyone? Hmm? Okay, so first of all, we'll go to the whiteboard here once. Okay, so this is the import set. So consider this is the Excel sheet that client has given. So consider this is the Excel sheet that client has given to you. Okay. So first of all, guys, whenever you load this Excel sheet data in ServiceNow, first of all, it will be stored in the temporary table. First of all, this data will be first stored in the temporary table. After storing the data into the temporary table, okay, the transform map will run. The data will be transformed to the target table. Okay. So first of all, client has given an Excel sheet with you. Whenever the data loaded to ServiceNow, first it will be stored in the temporary table. So guys, in the temporary tables, data will be stored only for 1 week. After that, after 1 week, data will be erased automatically. Okay. Yes. So whenever you load the Excel sheet into ServiceNow, the data will be first stored into the temporary table, and then these transform maps will run. Once the transform map is run, the data will be stored into the target table. Okay. The data will be stored into the target table. Okay. Okay. Fine. So here, first of all, what I am doing is I am just going to the application navigator, use load data. Okay. So here I am actually creating a import set table. Import set table is nothing but temporary table. I'm creating a temporary problem table. Temporary. Okay. Temporary problem table I am creating here. Okay. See here, guys. This is a temporary table I am creating here. So I am actually choosing this Excel sheet. Okay, this problem, right? This problem Excel sheet I'm actually choosing my choosing from my laptop. Okay. So in this Excel sheet, this is actually sheet number one. This is sheet number one, header row one. So that is what you will have to mention here. Sheet number one, header row one here. So what will happen? So whenever I click on submit here, all this Excel sheet data will be stored in this temporary table. All this Excel sheet data, whatever the data that you have in the Excel sheet, that will be stored in this temporary table. So I'm going to click on submit here. Okay. So first of all, a import set will be created. This is the import set that is created here. This is the import set number. Okay. This is the import set number. You can see import sets. This is the import set. Whenever we load the data, import set will be created first. So what we have done, we have loaded the data. First import set is created. Okay. After creating the import set, okay, data will be loaded into the temporary table. Data will be loaded into the temporary table. So here, this is temporary problem table. This is actually a temporary problem table, guys. You can see all the data here. Assigned to assignment group, category, cause notes, comment, configuration item, okay, fix notes, as well as state, as well as resolution code, related records, problem statement. So all the Excel sheet data, okay, all the Excel sheet data, you can see here rows as well. First row category is hardware. First row category is hardware. You can see first row category is hardware. So, and here in the Excel sheet, eighth row means in the service note is seventh row. Seventh row category is software. Seventh row category is software. Seventh row category, okay, sixth row na. Sixth row category is software. Okay. So Excel sheet data, whenever we import this Excel sheet, whenever we import this Excel sheet, first of all, this import set will be created. And in the temporary table, all the Excel sheet data will be stored. In the temporary table, all the Excel sheet data is stored here. So this is the temporary table. Okay. So here, guys, I'm going to the table here. Right click, configure, go to table. So this is the temporary table. Okay. So this is the temporary table. Okay. So the temporary tables will extend the import set row table. So how can we identify that this is a temporary table means temporary tables extend the import set row table, guys. Remember this point. If a table is extending import set row table, that table we call it as temporary table. Okay. If a table is starting with the, if a table is actually extending import set row table, that we call it as temporary table. That we call it as temporary table. So temporary, in the temporary tables, data will be stored temporarily. If I scroll down and click on show list here, you can see total 38 rows are here. Total 38 rows are in the temporary table. In the Excel sheet, you have 38 rows. In the Excel sheet, we have 38 rows. Okay. So in the Excel sheet, you have total 38 rows. In the Excel sheet, you have 38 rows. Okay. So I think, yeah. So here, first row is actually this one. Okay. In the Excel sheet, we have 38 rows, guys. Those 38 rows you can see here in the temporary table. Okay. So you guys are able to understand that data is stored in the temporary table. Whenever we load the data, first import set is created and the data is loaded into the temporary table. So in the temporary table, once your data stored into the temporary table, this transform map will run. So now what I am doing is I am going to create a transform map. So I am going to create a transform map between temporary table and ServiceNow problem table. So this problem table is actually the permanent table, and this is the target table for us. So temporary problem is actually the temporary table, and problem table is actually the permanent table. Problem table. Okay. Problem data load. Okay. So once you have created a transform map between temporary table and ServiceNow target table, you have to do the field mapping. You have to do the field mapping. The field mappings should be the field mapping should happen between ServiceNow temporary table and target table. So here, this state field you should map with the problem table state. This category you should map with the temporary table category. So this category you have to map with the problem category. This state you have to map with the problem state. So you have to do the field mapping between state. You have to do the field mapping between temporary table and target table. So you can do the field mapping here using auto map matching assist, guys. So if you use auto map matching assist, if field names are matching, you can see this field name is state. Okay, this field name is also state. As field names are matching, fields will be mapped automatically. If you use auto map matching assist, you can see this field name and this field name both are matching. And here this field name and this field name both are matching. If the field names are matching, automatically field map will be created automatically. Auto map matching fields. If I click on auto map matching fields, field mapping will happen automatically. Scroll down here. You can see temporary table number is mapped with the target table number. Temporary table configuration item is mapped with the configuration item. Temporary table fixed nodes are mapped with the target table fixed nodes. Temporary table is state is mapped with the target table state. So likewise, field mapping has happened automatically. Okay. So field mapping has happened automatically because we clicked on auto map matching fields here. Okay. So if the field names are not matching, what if the field names are not matching? If the field names are not matching, you can use mapping assist here. Okay. You can use mapping assist here. Okay. Fine. So if you want to do the field mapping using mapping assist, you can. So which field you want to map it, that field you will move it to right side, and from here you will move it to left side, so that you can do the mapping manually. So instead of using auto map mapping assist, you can actually do the mapping manually, guys. Okay. If you want to do the mapping manually, okay, you can use auto map mapping assist. Okay. Fine. You can also create a field map using. You can also use mapping assist, as well as you can also create manually as well. You can also create a manual field map as well. So using these three ways, you can do the field mapping, guys. Okay. So you can select the source field, which field, let us take number. Number field you want to map with the problem table number. So you can do the field mapping from here as well. So you can either use auto mapping assist, auto map matching fields. This one you can use mapping assist, or you can create a field map. Okay, clear, right? Till this point. So what we have done, first of all, this is the Excel sheet. Then we loaded the data into the temporary table. Now we created a transform map. Okay. Then we have to load the data into target table. So if you click on transform here, the data will be transformed to target table. Okay. So now what I'm doing is, so now at this moment we created a transform map here. First of all, import set is created. We loaded the data and the transform map created. We created the transform map between temporary table and target table, right? Okay. So leave about this one. Okay. I am going to load data again. Okay. So here I don't have to create the second table again. I don't have to create a new table again. I have already a table. You can just use existing table, temporary problem. So this is the temporary table that we created, right? You select this one. This is the temporary table that we created, right? You select this one. Load the Excel sheet. Load the Excel sheet and submit this one. First of all, check import set is created or not. So this is the latest import set that is created. You can see this one is created now. This one is created 12 minutes ago. This is the latest import set that is created, guys. So then data is loaded into the temporary table. Okay. So with this import set, data is loaded into the temporary table, 38 records. So now what I am doing here is, here you can see this time run transform map. You have run transform map. So you can click on run transform here. Click on transform. Okay. So now you go to the problem table, actual problem table, not temporary problem, actual problem table. Now you can see here all the problems are imported into ServiceNow target table or not. Okay. Only 15 are imported. Huh? You can see only 15 are imported, guys. Why rest of them are not imported? We will see the result here. So if you go to the import log here, if you go to the transform history or import log, I'm going to the transform history. So why only 15 are imported? Why 15 are not imported? You can see complete with errors. Okay. What you can do is you can just open the import set. You can open the import set here. In the import set, there are 38 rows that are imported, right? So what has happened to rest of them? So data policy exception. Data policies will work from all other sources is what I told you. Do you remember that? Data policies will work from all other sources, including Excel sheet. Did I tell you or not? Okay. So data policy is not allowing some records to be created because close notes are missing. Okay. Operation against problem was aborted by business rule about changes group. So some are actually not created because of business rule. Some are not created because of data policies. So before business rules and data policies will work from all other sources is what I told you. Do you remember or not? Before business rules and data policies will work from all other sources is what I told you. Okay. So because of this one, because of this one, 15 records are not created. Only 15 records are created. If you pass mandatory details, it will allow you to create the records. It will allow you to create the records. Okay. So now what I am doing is I am going to delete all the problems that are created here. Okay. In the problem table we created before business rules, we created data policies, right? We will deactivate them. Right click, configure data policies. We will deactivate all of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. I deactivated the data policy. I deactivate the business tool as well, before business tool as well. What is the error that we are seeing here? Report changes on group. Report changes on group. Okay, we deactivated this business tool. Fine. Now I am going to load the data again now. Okay. I am going to load the data again now. Run transform map. Go to the transform history. So now you go to the import set. You directly go to the problem table here. You can see in the problem table, all the problem records are created or not. So you can see 38 records are created. So no business tool, no before business tool, no data policy is actually stopping the data processing into database. So you can see all 38 records are actually created or not. Hmm? Guys, records created or not. So how did the process go here? So you have taken the Excel sheet here and you imported that into the temporary table. You ran the transform map and the records are created into the target table. Okay. So this is very important thing, guys. When data is coming to ServiceNow, remember this is very important. When data is coming to ServiceNow, first of all, we will actually place them into the temporary table. We will place them into the temporary table. We will run the transform map. We'll run the transform map, and okay, once the transform map is run, and the details will be stored into the temporary table. Sorry, the details will be stored into the target table. So this is how the process will go, guys. Now, guys, what if I import a second time here? Okay, what if I import second time here? I'm going to load the data second time. If I load the data second time, so it will create 38 records again. So there will be duplicate problem numbers. If I load the data second time, okay, what will happen? If I load the data again, so another 38 records will be created. Another 38 records will be created. 38 plus 38. Okay. 38 plus 38, 76. So 76 problem records will be there, but with one number, there will be two records. That means duplicate numbers will be created. So how can I avoid duplicate problem numbers? To avoid the duplicate problem numbers, remember this point. Remember this point. Okay. So in the transform map, we will go to the transform map that we created. In the transform map, okay. So I am making number as coil is true here. Number as coil is true here. So what is this coil is true here? So when you are loading the data, this Excel sheet, you have some number. If this number is already there in ServiceNow, the record will be updated. It will not create a new record. That means coalis is used to avoid duplicate records. These coalis will avoid duplicate records, guys. No duplicate record will be created. With the same number, if the number that is coming from source is already there in ServiceNow table, no new record will be created. Existing record will be updated. With that number, if there is a record, that record will be updated. So coalis means it will avoid the duplicate records. It will avoid the duplicate records. With the number, that is coming from Excel sheet, let us take this number. This number is already there in ServiceNow. So if this number is already there in ServiceNow, what exactly it does is that it will not create a duplicate record. It will not create a duplicate record. It will actually update the existing same record. It will update this particular record. So coalis is used to avoid the duplicate records. Okay. Getting my point, guys? Coalis is used to avoid the duplicate records. From the Excel sheet, you are actually loading this Excel sheet. So with this number, okay, okay, this number is already there in ServiceNow. If this number is already there in ServiceNow, it will actually update that record. It will not create a new record. If you apply the coalis here, if there is no coalis, it will be creating the duplicate records. And remember, we can apply coalis on multiple fields as well. So you can apply coalis on multiple fields. So remember this point. This is very important. So when you are loading this data, number and state both should match. Number and state both should match so that it will actually update the record. If the number is matching and state is not matching, it will create the record. Remember this point. So you can apply multiple fields as coalis. If you apply multiple coalis or multiple fields as coalis, if you apply multiple fields as coalis, guys, what will happen is that both the field values should match to update the record. If any one field value is matching and the other field value is not matching, it will not update the record. It will create the record. Do you understand, guys, what happens if you apply multiple fields as coalis? Everyone, guys, you are able to understand or not? Hmm? If you apply multiple field values as coalis, all the fields should match to update the record. If any one field is matching, the other field is not matching, means it will create the record. Okay. Fine. So here I am just removing this queries as true, guys. Okay. I made a number field value number as queries. Number as queries. So that means if the number in the Excel sheet you are passing the number, guys. Okay. Uh, this number is not there in service now. Okay. This number is not there in service now. Okay. If this number is not there in service now, this record will be created. If this number is already there in service now, this record will be updated. So let me just show you here. So with this number, is there any problem record? No problem record exists. Okay. So now I am going to save this Excel sheet. I'm going to load this Excel sheet here. Load data. Save this one. Run transform. Transform. Go to the transform history. You can see only one record created. So what is that record created? So this particular record is created. Okay. So what is that one record created? We will see it now. So you can see problem number 16666. This is the problem that is created because this problem number is not there in service now. So that is why it has created this record. So now what I am doing is I am just making some changes on the short description. Okay. So guys, these records are every record is there in service now. Every problem number is there in service now, isn't it? Every problem that you see in the Excel sheet is there in service now, isn't it, guys? Tell me. Okay. So I am going to upload this Excel sheet because every number is already there in service now, right? No new record will be created. Existing records will be updated because we made number as queries. Load data. Run transform. Transform. Transform history. You can see here only that out of 39, only 7 records are updated. 32 ignored. Why 32 ignored? Problem statement we updated for only few records. Huh? Only few records we updated, looks like. Okay, only these few records only we updated. Okay. We'll now make a update now. submit this one. I think, did I save this one? Transform. Transform history. You can see 39 updates. Go to the transform import set here. In the import set, you can see every record is updated. If you go to the problem table, every record problem short description is updated here. You can see every record problem short description is updated. No new record is created here. Any new record created, guys? Did it create any duplicate records? It did not create any duplicate records because we have made queries number as queries. Okay, we have made number as queries. Okay. So if you apply queries on multiple fields, let us say I am making queries on configuration item. Okay. So I am going to change the configuration item to a different name. Okay. It's Java application server. So I'm going to change the configuration, every record configuration item to okay. So now what we have done, we have made number as queries and configuration item as queries. So number should match and configuration item should match. Both should match to update the record. If the number is matching, guys, for a record, number should match and configuration item should match. Both should match. If both the values are matching, record will be updated. If number is matching and configuration item is not matching, means duplicate record will be created. So now I am going to load the data again. So you can see total 39 records created. So if you see, duplicate records are created here. Duplicate records are created here. You can see for the same number, there are two records here. So why did it create? So number is matching, configuration item is not matching. So number is matching, but configuration item is not matching. That is why it has created duplicate records. So remember here. So we made number and queries both as true here. So both should match to update the record. If number is matching and configuration item is not matching, it will actually create the records. In this case, record is created. Okay. So you guys are clear, right? Hmm? Okay. Guys, here you can see here. So if you want to, there are business rules in the problem table, right? there are business rules in the problem table. So once the data loaded into the target table, if this business rules should run means you will check the checkbox. In the problem table, there are business rules, right? Once the data loaded, these business rules will run. To stop these business rules running, you will actually use run business rules unchecked. If you uncheck this one, on the problem table, there are business rules, right? Those business rules won't run. Okay. Well, enforce mandatory fields. If there are any mandatory fields on the form, if there are any mandatory fields on the table, okay. So all the mandatory fields should come means you will check all mandatory fields. Okay. So if you want to make all the mandatory fields to come to the target table, then you will make enforce mandatory fields here. Okay. If you don't want to enforce it, you will check this checkbox. So here, guys, if you see, I am making all the short description value as empty. I am making all the short description values as empty. Okay. These empty values, ServiceNow will not copy it. If I load these empty values in ServiceNow, so we'll delete the duplicates, guys. Run transform. So did we remove the queries? Okay, remove the queries and transform here. So now do you see empty values are copied or not here? These empty values will not be copied, guys. Remember. So empty values will not be copied here. So remember, even if you make empty here, these empty values are not copied in ServiceNow, not updated in ServiceNow. By default, ServiceNow will not update the empty values because here you can see copy empty value checkbox is unchecked. If you check this checkbox, if I load the data, all short descriptions will become empty if I load the data again. You can see here, all the values has become empty. All the short description has become empty or not. So as this checkbox is checked, it has copied the empty values. Okay. And now create new record on empty query list fields. So number is the query list, right? So number is the query list. Suppose if the number is not there in the query list field, if the number is not there in the query list field, Okay. The number is not there in the query list field. How system will identify that this is there in the service now or not? So it is asking create new record on empty query list fields. If you check this checkbox, as there are actually three empty query list fields, it will create three records. It will create three records. Now you can see it will create three records now. Because there are empty query list fields here, three empty query list fields. These three records will be created. Go to the transform history, run the transform. Go to the transform here. Transform history. You can see three records created. With the empty query list, there are three records created here. You can see these three records are created in the problem table. 72, 73, 74. Okay. So here, guys, if I go to the transform map, okay. So there is a run script here. So from the source, from the Excel sheet, you are actually passing three fields like first name, middle name, last name. But in service now, there is only one field called name. Remember, in the Excel sheet, you are getting first name, last name, middle name, last name. But in service now, there are no three fields. There is only one field. Okay. In service now, there is only one field. Then what we will do? We will actually do the field mapping here. That target dot name is equal to source dot first name plus space source dot last name plus source dot middle name. So you are actually combining all three fields into and you are actually passing it to one field. So you can't here using field mapping, you can't combine all three fields together. You can't combine all three fields together in the field mapping. What you will do? So here you are combining all three fields here. Okay, you are mapping with the target field. Okay. So source means Excel sheet here. Target means problem table field name. Target means problem table. Source means temporary table here. Hope you understand. Everyone. I am unmuting everyone. Guys, due to Vinayak Chauthi, people are not willing to join in tomorrow's session. I am not taking session tomorrow. We'll be joining as usually on Monday evening at 6 p.m. Okay. Any questions from anyone? Hmm? Any questions from anyone, guys?
Happy Vinayaka Chavithi, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Anusha. Happy Vinayak Chavithi, everyone. And I'll see you there in Monday session, guys. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all.